The city of Harmony Creek, Georgia, was shrouded in the humid darkness of summer. The chirping of insects mingled with the country music emanating from the roadside bar, creating a familiar symphony of the American South. In a secluded corner of the city, shadows enveloped a small alley, where a man's life was about to take a tragic turn. Isaiah Izzy Wright, a black veteran with salt and pepper hair and eyes filled with untold stories, was slowly making his way home. Izzy had just finished a shift at the auto repair shop where he worked to make a living. War had taken many things from him: youth, health, and even dreams. But it could not steal his self-respect and belief in justice. As Izzy walked past a deserted street corner, a police patrol car suddenly screeched to a halt in front of him. Two police officers stepped out of the car, looking aggressive and challenging. "Hold it right there, police!" one of the officers shouted. He was Jack Rourke, a tall, burly white man with a flushed face and cold eyes. Rourke was notorious in the Harmony Creek Police Department for his hot temper and racist remarks. "What's the problem, officer?" Izzy asked, his voice calm. He was used to situations like this. As a black man in the American South, he knew he always had to be cautious. "We received a report of an armed robbery in this area. You fit the description of the suspect," Rourke said, his eyes scanning Izzy from head to toe. "I just got off work. If necessary, you could check my ID," Izzy replied, slowly reaching into his pocket. "Don't move," Rourke roared, drawing his gun and pointing it directly at Izzy. "I don't believe a word any of you say." Izzy froze, his hands raised in the air. "I haven't done anything wrong. Please calm down." "Calm down? Do you think I'm stupid? Do you think I don't know all you people are good for is causing trouble?" Rourke approached Izzy, his voice full of animosity. "I'm a veteran. I serve this country," Izzy said, trying to remain calm. "Shut your mouth. You have no right to speak." Rourke swung his hand and slapped Izzy hard across the face. The unexpected blow caused Izzy to stagger backward. "I'm not resisting. Please don't do that," Izzy said, blood beginning to trickle from the corner of his mouth. "You dare argue with me?" Rourke roared, lunging at Izzy and punching and kicking him repeatedly. The other officer stood by, doing nothing to intervene. Izzy tried to defend himself, but he was too old and tired. The relentless punches made him dizzy, and he collapsed to the ground. "I'll teach you some manners," Rourke yelled, raising his foot and kicking Izzy hard in the head. The fatal kick caused Izzy to lose consciousness immediately. Rourke and his partner dragged Izzy into a dark alley, leaving him lying there in a pool of blood. They got into their car and drove away, leaving behind an innocent man in agony. A few hours later, a homeless person passed by the alley and discovered Izzy. He frantically called for help. Izzy was taken to the hospital in critical condition. In Washington, D.C., in a luxurious office with a panoramic view of the city, the United States Attorney General, Marcus Wright, was working diligently. Marcus was a powerful man, a brilliant lawyer, and the pride of the black community. He always fought for justice and equality, protecting the rights of the vulnerable. The desk phone rang, interrupting Marcus's train of thought. He picked up the phone, his voice authoritative. "Marcus Wright speaking. Mr. Attorney General. This is David Miller from Harmony Creek Hospital. We have a patient named Isaiah Wright, and we thought you should know about it." The voice on the other end trembled. "Isaiah Wright? That's my father," Marcus said, his heart suddenly tightening. "What happened to him?" "Sir, your father has been severely assaulted and is in a coma. We're not sure if he's going to make it," Miller said, his voice full of concern. Marcus was stunned. He couldn't believe what he had just heard. His father, a kind and good-hearted man, had become a victim of violence? "I'll be there right away," Marcus said, his voice shaking. He hung up the phone, stood up, and quickly walked out of the office. On the way to Harmony Creek, Marcus's mind raced with memories of his father. Isaiah Wright was a strong and resilient man. He had experienced many hardships in life, but never lost his faith in humanity. He always taught Marcus to fight for what he believed in and to protect the vulnerable. Marcus remembered his childhood, when he was a young black boy growing up in the American South. He had witnessed much injustice and discrimination. It was those experiences that motivated him to become a lawyer, to fight for justice and equality. But now, the father he loved was lying in a hospital bed, possibly never to wake up. Marcus felt a searing pain. He vowed to find the person who did this and to bring them to justice. When he arrived at Harmony Creek Hospital, Marcus was led to the intensive care unit by Dr. Miller. He saw his father lying motionless on the bed, with bruises and bandages all over his body. Marcus couldn't contain his emotions. He knelt beside the bed, took his father's frail hand, and burst into tears. "Dad, it's me. It's Marcus," he said, his voice choked with emotion. "You have to wake up. You can't leave me alone." After composing himself, Marcus requested a meeting with local police officials to learn about the attack on his father. He met with Police Chief Hank Thompson, a middle-aged man with a grim expression and a guarded demeanor. "Mr. Attorney General, we are very sorry about what happened to your father," Thompson said, his voice dry. "We are taking this matter seriously. I want to know all the details. Who attacked my father? Why?" Marcus asked, his voice resolute. Thompson hesitated for a moment and then said, "We suspect that your father was the victim of an armed robbery. We are looking for suspects who match the description." Marcus frowned. He didn't believe this explanation. His father didn't have much money, and he was always careful when he went out. Something didn't add up. "I want to see all the evidence and reports related to this case," Marcus said, his voice brooking no argument. Thompson reluctantly agreed. Marcus and his assistants began reviewing the documents provided by the police. He discovered that there were many inconsistencies in the witness statements and in the police reports. For example, one witness said that they had seen two white men leaving the scene of the crime, but the police described the suspect as black. In addition, there was no sign that his father had resisted, but the police claimed that he had attacked the robbers. Marcus began to suspect that the police were deliberately covering up the truth. He decided to investigate on his own. He asked his assistants to gather information on all the police officers who were present at the scene of the crime. He also asked them to re-interview the witnesses and to search for any evidence that could help shed light on the case. During the investigation, Marcus discovered that Officer Jack Rourke had a history of violence and racist behavior. Rourke had been the subject of complaints for abuse of power and for making offensive remarks about black people. Marcus summoned Rourke for questioning. Throughout the interrogation, Rourke appeared evasive and circumspect. He claimed that he had nothing to do with the attack on Marcus's father, and that he was just doing his job. However, Marcus didn't believe Rourke. He felt that he was hiding something. He decided to increase the pressure on Rourke and threatened to prosecute him for obstructing justice. Under heavy pressure, Rourke began to falter. Finally, he confessed that he and his partner had attacked Isaiah Wright. He claimed that he had mistaken Izzy for a criminal, and that he had lost control when Izzy didn't comply with his commands. Rourke also confessed that he had deliberately covered up the truth to protect himself and his partner. He knew that if the truth were exposed, he would lose his job and could face imprisonment. Rourke's confession caused an outcry in the Harmony Creek community. People took to the streets to protest, demanding justice for Isaiah Wright. They denounced the racist behavior and violence of the police, and demanded a comprehensive reform of the local police force. Marcus Wright became a hero to the black community. He was praised for his courage in fighting for justice, and for exposing the truth about the attack on his father. However, Marcus didn't feel happy. He knew that this victory was just a small part of the larger fight against injustice and discrimination. He still had a lot of work to do to protect the rights of the vulnerable, and to ensure that no one had to go through what his father had gone through. Rourke and his partner were arrested and charged with assault, obstruction of justice, and violation of civil rights. Rourke's trial became a nationally televised event. During the trial, Marcus Wright took the stand to testify. He recounted what had happened to his father, and he denounced Rourke's racist behavior and violence. "My father is a kind and good-hearted man. He served this country, and he didn't deserve to suffer what happened to him," Marcus said, his voice full of emotion. "I asked the court to severely punish those who did this, so that justice may be done and so that others will not dare to repeat similar acts." The jury found Rourke guilty on all counts. He was sentenced to many years in prison. Rourke's partner was also convicted with varying sentences. After the trial, Marcus Wright returned to the hospital to visit his father. Isaiah Wright was still in a coma, but the doctor said that he was showing positive signs of recovery. One day, as Marcus was sitting by his father's bedside, he suddenly noticed his father's finger twitch slightly. He quickly called the doctor, and the doctors confirmed that Isaiah Wright was waking up. Isaiah Wright's recovery was slow but steady. He had to undergo months of physical therapy and rehabilitation, but eventually he was able to walk and talk again. When Isaiah Wright fully recovered, he was overjoyed to learn that his son had found justice for him. He was proud of Marcus, and he knew that Marcus would continue to fight for what he believed in. The Isaiah Wright case sparked a major debate about the issue of racism and police violence in the United States. Many people called for police reform and demanded increased training in multiculturalism and conflict resolution skills. Marcus Wright continued to serve as the United States Attorney General. He used his power to promote criminal justice reform and to protect the rights of the vulnerable. He also founded a nonprofit organization to support victims of police violence and to help them seek justice. The lives of Isaiah Wright and Marcus Wright were forever changed after that fateful night in Harmony Creek. But they did not let pain and injustice overcome them. They turned tragedy into motivation, and they fought for a more just and equal world. The story of Isaiah Wright and Marcus Wright is a story of resilience, courage, and hope. It is a reminder that justice may be delayed, but it will ultimately be done. It is also a call to action for all of us to join together to fight against injustice and discrimination, and to build a better world for all. Remember to subscribe to the channel to watch the next video. Goodbye, and see you again.